Alright guys, today we're going to be unboxing the iPhone 13. So this one will set you back, I believe, 800 bucks here. And I think this might be a good upgrade for anybody with an iPhone 8 or an iPhone 10. If I was, on the 12, like I have the 12 mini, but even if I had the standard 12, I don't think I would upgrade this year, honestly. I really think this should have been called the iPhone 12s because the upgrades are so small here. And again, with the massive cameras on this phone, we all know Apple has these bigger sensors now that let in more light, but they are pretty big. Like, you have to actually see them in person. It's pretty crazy. This is the blue color. I forget what it's, if they have like a name for it, but I'll put it in the title if it does. But so far, I'm really liking the design. It's pretty much the same design, honestly. The only reason that the cameras are now changed is because they're so big they can't go side by side anymore here. But again, we have our charging cable, and then we do have our SIM ejection tool and our Apple sticker as always. Alright guys, I do want to talk about the color real quick because just in case you're wondering, the 12 mini from last year had this darker blue, and I thought it was going to be the same, but it's a much lighter blue, way lighter than I was expecting, which still, it looks fine. So I have no issues with that. The design is pretty much the same, from the 12. It's just that we have those bigger cameras, diagonal cameras, and it is a power button, volume rockers, mute vibration switch if you haven't seen, an iPhone setup, stereo speakers on here as well. And also we do have a smaller notch on the 13. It's 20% smaller, not super noticeable, but it is smaller. So that's one thing. The one thing that I was a little disappointed with this display is that we have the same display as the iPhone 13 Pro here, but it's not a 120 hertz panel. So Apple is trying to sell you up on the Pro model, I'm guessing, and my thing is that we needed some type of high refresh rate on the standard 13. In my opinion, now the 13's display, it is very smooth display, but yes, once you see 120 hertz, you definitely don't want to go back to a 60 hertz panel. But I feel like they could have at least put 90 hertz on here. Now the panel itself is still a great panel here. It's the super long name, a Super Retina XDR OLED display, HDR10, Dolby Vision. It gets extremely bright as well, which I really like too. And the resolution is 1170 by 2532, 460 for the PPI here. And it's a very nice display here, but I'm not sure how many normal people care about the high refresh rate. So I'm just not sure how everybody feels about that, but I definitely feel like we could at least got 90 hertz on here, but it is, still a very nice and colorful panel here. Alright, so we are running iOS 15 on the 13, and I do want to show you guys the benchmarks that I got here today here. So let's go ahead and check those out. So you can see those benchmarks, see how those compare to the other iPhones as well. You can see, so this phone is super fast, guys. It's very fast. Here are your Antutu scores as well. So this phone is not going to miss a beat. Alright guys, so like I was saying, we do have the Apple A15 chip, 128 gigs of internal storage this time. So usually we get 64 gigs, so now we get 124 gigs and 4 gigs of RAM. What I noticed with the iPhone 13 and versus the 13 Pro Max is that the Pro Max stays cooler than the iPhone 13. Now the iPhone 13 does not get hot or anything like that, but I'm talking about not even just gaming, just with downloading stuff. This phone gets warmer than the Pro Max. So we're definitely going to be dropping a gaming test to see if this thing is going to start overheating or anything like that once you put it through some intense gaming or something like that. So be sure to subscribe. I'll drop a gaming test for both the 13 and Pro Max. But yeah, so I did notice that it gets a little bit warmer. The 13 Pro Max stayed pretty cool doing, everything, just normal stuff, open applications, whatever. But this one does get a little bit warm. And I wonder if it's because of this one has like the matte back on here, so I wonder if it's because of that. And this one just has that glass back. So I wonder if that has something to do with, just me feeling that heat coming out of this phone. But yeah, as far as gaming performance, so far, you're gonna get maxed out graphics on pretty much anything you play here. But I do want to see like if PUBG will play at that 90 frames, and if not, will it play at 90 frames eventually. And then you have to take into consideration all of the games that are going to be updated for the 120 hertz display. Now we do have stereo speakers on here, so let's go ahead and turn that up, and let's go ahead and check those out. So beautiful sounding speakers, man. Super loud, very crispy, no distortion. Also crazy bass on here. You can hear those 808s really thumping on here. Excellent sounding speakers on this device here. And also the vibrations on this phone are pretty good as well. So that's really nice. You have a really strong motor on here. So overall, just for sound, it's really, really good. I do want to talk about the cameras on here because I guess that's kind of a big upgrade here. So it's a 12 megapixel standard and a 12 megapixel ultra wide, 4K video, 24, 30, or 60 FPS. The only thing that I was a little disappointed with the cameras was that there's no macro camera on here like on the 13 Pro. So I really wanted to see a macro on the just a standard one. But as far as photos, the iPhone 13 is taking some excellent photos as usual. The cinematic mode is also on here as well, which is pretty cool. I'll show you how that works. But photos are going to be great. You have those bigger sensors, so basically it'll be able to take better photos in low light, which it definitely was able to do. It took some really crispy photos in low light, and the images come out how you would expect them to come out. Color accurate, dynamic range great, colors are great. Like I said, low light is going to be pretty good on here. Also video was super solid on this device as well. So I was really happy with the my first impressions of the image quality here. I thought it was really good, so I had no complaints there. Alright guys, so the cinematic video on here, or portrait video, is pretty cool. For its first release, I think it's fine. You have to tap to focus, so I can sort of tap on the ball here to focus in, or I can do it manually. If you do it manually, it's not going to be as fast. So as you can see, I can go from here and then look at the ball here. It'll try to focus on the object, come back. Like it's a little bit slow, but I think with some software updates, I think this has potential to be really good. It's supposed to pretty much mimic a high-end DSLR. Alright guys, I wanted to mention also something that I saw with this phone that surprised me. So far the people that have done the battery drain test, like Mr. Who's the Boss, this phone on his test got around 7 hours and 48 minutes of screen on time. That is a massive leap. That is almost 8 hours of screen on time. So I was extremely surprised when I started to see these battery drain tests. So you're getting battery life that is way better than what I was expecting. Now I have to use the phone for myself, keep using it, but so far there's some random leap in battery life here. So we do have a 3240 milliamp battery, 20 watt charging on here, and then we have the MagSafe wireless charging at 15 watts, and then we have the wireless magnetic fast wireless charging at 7.5 watts. So if battery life is really around that 8 hours of screen on time, to me that is a huge thing. Like that is excellent screen on time for a device that is a 6.1 inch screen size. So that's what I would expect from like a device like my V60 with a 5000 milliamp battery. So I wonder if the A15 processor has anything to do with that, or just the bigger battery this year. I don't know what's going on, but definitely I thought that was super interesting. And everything else on here that you would expect, as far as NFC being on here with Apple Pay, and also your Face ID works extremely fast on here, so no issues with that. So overall, the iPhone 13, I think this is more of an attractive buy to anybody with an iPhone, like an iPhone 8 Plus, and we'll get into those comparisons. An 8 Plus, you have an iPhone 10, you have an iPhone 8, even an SE. This is going to be an attractive buy because of the battery life is looking like it's going to be just crazy on this device, and also the A15 chip is just really powerful. The cameras are really great on here as well. So yeah, I'll get to all the comparisons, guys. Don't worry. And gaming tests. Just be sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.